Welcome to another episode of LPO. As always, your host here is Luis, John, and Paola, myself. I hope that everybody's having a good night thus far, and I'm super excited. We're less than 9 days to get the MLS going on. So, how are you, Luis? Doing tonight?
No, well, thank you to everybody. My apologies for jumping a little late. Things that happen when you do live shows. Sorry to our Twitter people from LPO. Unfortunately, for some reason, the system is not allowing me to broadcast it live on Twitter, but it allowed me to broadcast live on my own Twitter. I don't know why. So I retweeted myself, and you guys can still watch it. So thank you everyone that's joining in live. I guess it says it's an issue with StreamYard. So thank you to all the about 13, 14 people watching us right now. Thank you so much. Excited for what's coming to Orlando. Luis Muriel, definitely a reality. I'm also very excited about the form that the team is on and is showing pretty good things, especially with Nico Lodero taking like a really big kind of veteran presence in the midfield. And then we'll talk about some guy, I guess, tweeted something funny on Twitter a few days ago. We'll discuss that later. John, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. I got to go to the Society 21 game, so that was awesome. See the boys in action. I can almost taste the season. It's like, you can reach out and grab it. We're that close, so I can't wait.
Oh, you got that little preview last Saturday. And that is our first agenda item for today. So let's talk about the Society 21 game. Our Lions played against the Rev in a close preseason scrimmage against the Rev, like I said, at 7 p.m. on Saturday. The boys nailed it 3-1. We won. And John, since you went to the game, and I remember me and you both went last year's game. I don't know if you remember, but comparing last year's game versus this year's game, did you saw a difference? Talk about a little bit about your experience on Saturday.
So I didn't even think about that, but last year's Society 21 game at Osceola Heritage Park is when all three of us first met the first time.
Yes.
It's hard to see what happened because it all just happened so fast. I was barely paying attention. It was like 2 minutes into the game, but I think we just weren't really quite switched on enough. And Mikey they got in behind him, and sort of Schlegel was slightly out of position, and they got that first goal. Then after that, it was kind of all us. The passing really looks really smooth. And the press game as well. We were pressing them past the speed that we passed the ball, the pressing that we were putting on them. And that sort of led to two or three of the goals that you saw in the highlights. That's my overall takeaway. We can dive a little bit more into some other interesting things. But from your guys' perspective on the outside, looking at the highlights, what do you think about the game and the way we played?
Personally, I think they need to stay consistent. I mean, it's a preseason game. I'm not gonna go and say, yeah, it reminds me how Real Madrid plays, or Manchester City, obviously, but I'm not gonna get super excited about it. I'm excited that they're in great shape, great form, and I think it's because we've kept our core, and difference from other years, Orlando has kept his whole entire core and has added exciting players and also players that are really fighting to put themselves to have a leadership role. Talking about Robin Jansen, being possibly a new captain. Facundo Torres being more present with a brace, right? I mean, more of a protagonist, not a supporting cast role. I like that. And Nico Lodero playing what, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this. You guys may hate me, but doing what maybe Mauricio, in a way, Mauricio Pereira kind of lacked, in that position. He's showing right now, that at 34, he's on a higher level, playing in a higher level. We'll see what happens, and hopefully it's not he doesn't pull an Aaron Rodgers on us, right? If people watch American football,
Don't
but
jinx it, please.
I'm knocking on wood right now, but I'll give the mic to Paula.
No, and I totally agree with what Luis just said. I saw the second goal for Facu, that it was a free kick from Nico to that side that side of the one formation, right?
You know what it is, and it's so funny that you mentioned this, Luis, because it was Mauricio. You know how we used to put Mauricio in the sort of, I call it the 8/10 role, where like he's one of the D mids, but he's more
Correct.
aggressively forward, and he was
Yep.
almost like a central of the park playmaker. That's, and we used to do it with Mauricio and Pato. Remember that? We used to put
Yeah.
Pato in the
Yep.
center attacking mid and push. That's exactly what he did, except from it worked because Nico could do it better than Mauricio.
I mean, it's just quality. To be honest with you, obviously a lot of fans were saying, but he's 34 years old. Like I said, I'm not gonna get super excited. I think it's great that he's adapted, like he's causing an immediate impact. Like you see a pre Lodero and post Lodero happening right now.
Mhm.
Let's see let's see if we see that when it really matters, right? Which is, coming up against Cavalry, right? Because I'm sure he's going to be a starter against Cavalry. Now, I want to ask you, John, a question when it comes to what you saw. So, was Cartagena your so it was played not with the double pivot. It was just Cartagena, right? Just Cartagena as a six, as a lone
Yeah,
six.
Cartagena pretty deep as the 6, and then
Okay.
Laredo playing essentially as like a center mid, box to box almost,
And
but
then
with the
Ojeda
play
was your 10.
with the main playmaker, which kind of allowed Ojeda to be the 10, but more of like a second striker kind of
Like a
10,
false nine in a
less
way.
right, less of a I'm up here to create. He's like I'm up here to sit right behind the striker, and him and Enrique were making some really nice almost sort of like interchanges where he would go ahead of Enrique, Enrique would come back behind him. And that looked really nice. It was a very free role in the middle of the park for Ojeda because he had Laredo behind him pulling the strings.
That's interesting that you say that. Because at media day for Orlando City, Ojeda, there's three things I got from what he said. He said, I want more minutes. I want to score more goals. Like he kind of, you could tell he realized, hey, shit, I'm a DP. I should be probably doing some more, and if Pareja is able to pull this up with Nico and Ojeda on a lineup, I'm all in. What do you think about that, Paula?
No, for sure. I was gonna say to our audience, I don't know if everybody had the chance to see the starting lineup for Saturday, but it was in the back four, we had Jensen, we had Holiday, we had Galese, obviously, Schlegel, Smith, Torres, Ojeda in the front, with Torres, Angulo, Cartagena in the middle, y Enrique at top. So whoever was asking and imagining Ojeda and Torres back into the formation, Oscar is trying to pull it off this year. That's my gut saying that. So I mean, I'm we're gonna see changes in the beginning of the season for sure, like we saw last season. The difference is, you said it, Luis, we stay with the core, and now the team has that connectivity, that gelling that they were trying to pull off the beginning of the season of last year. So it's gonna be a different mindset of formation this season. Um, and today the club they posted a interview with Loredo, and he looked happy. Like, if you haven't had the chance to listen to that
Yeah, Gabby's a beast.
seven
She does a
seven
great
minute
job.
interview, is super great work by the club. And he was honest. He said why he's here in Orlando, why he picked Orlando. He even talked about his predecessor, Mauricio Pereira. He was a key of him being in this club. So watched it. I'm super excited for this season for the club. It's giving me good good sense of I smell a trophy. I don't know, but I have high hopes
Well, I
for the team
mean,
this year.
let's hope that that's, I think the team deserves it. I think I think the city, the fans deserve it. I mean, one of the most loyal fan bases in the MLS for sure, since 2010, I believe. Since the
It will
very
be
early years.
epic if we won this trophy
Like
in our anniversary.
we went from this to this, right? I think it's about time, guys.
I want
I think
that
it's
little
about.
star in our logo.
So, what do you
Just
guys
on
think about
the
the left back and right back situation?
quickly before we go into that, I'm gonna say
Mhm.
one thing on the formation. Not having a double pivot makes me a little nervous.
Yep.
I think it was very attacking. I love that he got all four of our attacking mids, like Angulo, all four of those guys in one formation. I don't think we're going to play that against the better teams. We might bust that out if we need a goal, right? We're chasing a game. I think we're still going to see the double pivot most of the time. I'm just going to,
I
before
think we
people
didn't
start
see it because
thinking,
Araujo just came in from his international duty. So that's why I'm thinking, let's start with this formation. Let's see how it goes. But we're not gonna play that against a Nashville FC type of
Yeah,
game situation.
maybe this is something that the fans and a lot of people were asking Oscar is to kill its prey in the first 15 minutes, 15 20 minutes, right? Score first. And maybe this is a way of, maybe, yeah, we're playing a Red Bulls, we're playing Charlotte, those games that we should be winning, right? Because we have a better roster. Let's just not be. I'm not trying to be like uppity or believe in the hype, but I'm just saying, that we're better than certain teams. So that's one of his plans, right? Using that formation, like you said, John, to chase the game, to to chase some goals and get on the forefront right away, and then control the pace of the game the rest of the game. And maybe you bring your double pivot in the second half, and you free up the back line for them to do their thing, right? And yeah.
what were you going to ask
John,
before I said that? Sorry.
oh no, he was asking about the left back and right back situation. We saw
Yeah.
Holiday back in and Kyle Smith playing the left back. How did you feel those position went on Saturday's game?
I was actually pleasantly surprised by Kyle Smith as a left back. I think it's the kind of guy that Oscar has a lot of faith in putting him in different positions, and he does seem to perform. And he was getting up the field more than, like, you saw the assist that he gave in there, for Faku's first goal, I think it was. He's definitely getting up the field on that left hand side and able to. He kind of, he doesn't really use his left foot that much, but he's able to kind of turn inside and put a ball in with his right foot, or I think contribute more than I usually would think from Kyle going forward, which was impressive to see. On the other side, though, Mikey, it was a little bit of like Mikey of old. Remember when he was being ignored for a while and he was just
Yeah.
standing there in
So
open space?
back to the beginning then with Mikey.
Yeah, it's just I don't. Sometimes with Mikey, I feel like he's almost like too far ahead of himself, if that makes sense. Like, he's now, like, for a guy that we thought was a defensive right back, he's very far up the field. And then also when he gets the ball, sometimes he's like running. It's kind of just like a bull in a china shop, you know what I mean? He's just kind of very direct.
Just
But
Yeah,
run.
so
Just run.
he just
he
runs,
needs to slow it down and be more like
have more
be more
pace.
yeah, like he needs to almost think more about what he's trying to do. A lot of the time, it just seems like he's trying to get up on that right side, and he is available. But then when he gets the ball, he just kind of
He's
runs
already
directly at
have.
a guy.
Mhm.
And there was a moment where he could have scored, he could have passed, like he was getting up there. But there was also a lot of times where he was being ignored. At one point, him and Faku kind of like switched, like completely, where
He was
Faku
playing a winger.
dropped completely deep, and Mikey was miles ahead of him. And Faku still didn't give him the ball. But anyway, the point is, he looked good. I think he needs to have some minutes to get back into that
Into the
Mikey that
rhythm.
we think. Yeah, I think he looks a little rusty. But I think Dagger's probably going to be starting there,
Did
in the
Dagger
CCC.
went into the game?
Dagger was not pictured there, but I believe he was there somewhere. We just
Oh,
couldn't
he's
see
not
him.
even in the bench. I didn't
He
realize.
wasn't on the bench, and he wasn't like
No, no.
Moraima took pictures of Duncan and David on the other side.
Uh-huh.
They were sitting in one of the suites on the other side of the stadium, but there was no picture of Dagger Down, but I'm pretty sure he was there.
He was probably there.
I don't think he
Yeah.
went to Iceland. I think that picture that he posted of his tattoo was when he went at Christmas and he got the tattoo. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think
Well,
he's left
You're
town.
trying to track him down, huh, John?
I'm watching. I'm always on Dagger Watch. So my Dagger scope says he was in the stadium.
Dagger scope. I'm gonna call you that now, John. What is your dagger scope on this episode?
he said
Go ahead,
that
Lee. Sorry.
he said that the right back position for him has been a blessing. It's just pretty much what he said. He said that he thanks Oscar and his staff for that, because pretty much gave him life to a point that now he could be a starter in his national team too, playing that position, right? And that's great. That's the impact that Pedro has in his national team. That's the impact that we hope, and I hope Faku has probably his national team, hopefully in the next round of qualifiers for CONMEBOL. And that's what we need to see. And he's like, I love playing right back now, and that's my position. So he pretty much said to me, I'm gonna be the starting right back for Orlando City for this season. That's pretty much what he
I gotta
said.
love the confidence. You do. I gotta
I
love
Oh, he's
that.
mean,
great.
that's the first step in that. Like, you need the mentality to succeed in those type of positions. So I don't blame the guy. So
Let's
I
read.
hope that he succeeds on even more, because we already saw that. Let's read some comments really quickly. Luis, do you want to read them?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I have Mark Robinson. So is this happening? Yes, it's happening.
Sorry,
My
Mark.
apologies
I had
for.
to go to the
Sorry, Mark.
bathroom.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
apologize. My
Sorry about
fault
that, man.
too.
But we're here. Jose A. Ramos says BH. Thank you so much. Al Negron. Peace sign, my friend. How are you? Victor Rosa says, so what is the latest with Duncan Maguire?
Ooh, we're gonna talk about that in
We
a
can talk.
little bit. Let's
Yeah.
talk about someone that he's already supposedly, word on the street is he already landed in Orlando. And I'm talking about Luis Muriel, that there's a possibility that tomorrow the club is gonna announce it, but since probably they're hearing us, they're not gonna announce it. They're gonna announce it on Wednesday. But I hope that they announce it soon. Um, like you see there, Luis is sharing a picture from his Instagram. Here we go.
Well, if Bogart doesn't say it, I don't believe it, man.
Oh, you're a bogut over Fabrizio. That's where you stand.
No, no.
When
Obviously, it's fantastic that Orlando's getting that much good press. I'll be honest with you. For having Fabrizio and Tom Bogart, respectable journalists, putting that out. I mean, it shows the strides that we've made. I'm sure you, John, remember when you first were at the club, how probably hard it was to get people to get interested in the team. And now,
Oh, it's insane, man. Like we used to, have to scrape the barrel to find players to come to play in USL and in a team, and so it's crazy to me how many people are talking about it. Like if you look on X, there's a lot of people
yeah,
because Luis Muriel has been such a good striker and has had form. Like he's had patches where he was top 5, top 10, right? In several leagues. So he's definitely up there, and everyone's talking about, is this going to be like is he going to have a reform, like sort of another great moment where he just, natural finisher just bags us a butt ton of goals. I think that I would love to see that happen. I think overall it's just a great signing. It's great to be, looked at as a club that is doing good things and bringing a guy like this over. I think if we look to our neighbors down south, yeah, they've got, they've got 5 of these guys.
but how do they do it? They just signed
That's fine.
some young guy too.
they just signed a youngster from
Yeah,
Boca Juniors,
Redondo's son,
Yeah.
which he's not that great, by the
8
way.
million.
And
Look, all
he's
I'll
not
say
that
is
great.
let's wait until the beginning of the season. They actually have to show their roster layout then and who's on what. Then we'll
All
know
Crazy.
how
Yep.
this is all working for Miami and
Well,
whether it isn't. But on Luis Muriel, I mean, I think he's that level of signing. Like I said, we need to bring in a name, and we were talking about different guys, and we couldn't really. We're like someone like this kind of guy. Luis is that guy for us, and I think he's going to come bring a little bit of, what's the word, fame with him, right? A little bit of stardom to the team, which is always good. I think we need a little bit of that, but also just that. What have we been lacking for the last 3 years? Is just someone just to put the ball in the back. Like those games, like the Columbus game where we got knocked out this year. We just couldn't put it in the back of the net, could we? Right. And so you hope that Muriel is someone in those games where Facu isn't stepping up and Ojeda isn't stepping up and no one's there. Hopefully, Luis is the guy who just goes, give me the ball. I'll put it in the net.
And he can mentor Ramiro Enrique, even Ivan Angulo. Like, hey, you have the speed. Let's put the ball behind that net. So I'm super optimistic for this signing. He there's word on the street again. Tomorrow he has scheduled his physical and
medical, right?
probably looking at the facilities and all that stuff. So I guess, I don't know, that tomorrow he could be announced. What do you think, Luis? Is tomorrow
Yeah,
Wednesday?
I think it's about to happen. If you don't hear anything by tomorrow, it's probably because I don't know. I mean, it's inevitable. I think it's happening. This is a player to me that has a lot to prove to a lot of people. He wants to silence the doubters. First, people from his own home country saying that the MLS is not worth it. Two, people calling him a washed out player, somebody that used to be great, but now he sucks. Sorry, that's the word that they're using. And three, I mean, I think he has a lot left in the tank. I think he's coming to the perfect team for him in the MLS, with a also Colombian coach with a huge Colombian community. A lot of people are not really realizing how huge of a Colombian community Orlando has. This is going to be, if you start seeing an Angulo Muriel partnership, in the attacking third. Colombia is probably going to get a new winger, the national team, and Muriel will go back to play in his national team again. That's the big impact. So all of that stuff is on stake. It's at stake for him. Him coming back to his national team on the high, playing in the high level. And also maybe Angulo gets a shot for the first time since since youth, playing in Colombia's youth national team. So
I really hope he
it,
can be like a
it's
mentor to
huge.
Angulo. That would be awesome.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. I think it's a win-win. It's a player that has a lot left in the tank, not a lot of nagging injuries. Somebody that could definitely adopt and be taking into Oscar's system and work right away, because he speaks the same language. He kind of can fit in that role that Oscar wants him to, and I think it's just fantastic. Now, yes, he's not a Messi, he's not a Lukaku, he's not a Griezmann, he's not a Giroud, but he's not a Marcus Rashford, you know what I mean? But he obviously is a player that I believe in the MLS he has a lot left, and I'm just happy that he's here. You know,
At this level, at his age,
yeah,
he's still like in that sort of like I can do bits. I can go
yeah,
out and score you 15, 20 goals quite easily, I think.
yeah. I mean, look at Nani, look at Pato. Look at even if you want to take it back a couple of years, a couple of decades, or a decade ago, Batista, he came right. He scored some big goals for Orlando City back in the day, right, John? So you know,
Old
I think he could
Julio.
do it. I think he could do it.
Let's read some comments really quick. Let's
Sure.
read. Um,
El
and
Germ
there you go.
Mantis. I sure hope he's not Marcus Rashford. That's right. He tried me pleasantly content with this signing. Herman Overosler. I don't know if I spelled it right. My apologies if I didn't. Hopefully, we get more butts in seats too. Correct. I think that's also a really huge assessment, and I believe that's going to happen. Al Negron says, "Let's fucking go, Muriel." That's right. I'm excited. El Germantis says, Duncan's agent, a whole clown, lol. We'll talk about that in a little bit. That guy, man, unbelievable. Yeah, so yeah, we'll talk about Duncan in just a moment, but uh Muriel's definitely set to he's coming to the MLS to prove that he still has it, right? And I think he could do it, and I think he's in the right team, in my opinion. You know,
Will you say a golden boot? I'm just kidding.
no, I mean,
I'm
I'm
just,
not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go. Look, if
I'm
he
just
scores,
kidding.
I think if he scores 11 goals this season, I think people are gonna be like, oh, okay, you know, and I
There is
think
a
about it. It's
world where like him and Suarez are two big golden boot options. Like that could happen.
yeah,
It's not
Can you
crazy.
imagine?
They could be, fighting it out for the most goals. It could happen.
yeah.
Hopefully.
So people were telling me, from my other podcast, they were telling me, Luis Muriel is like what Cucho Hernandez wanted to be, like a play at that level. Like Cucho Hernandez come from the second division of Spain, right? Obviously young kid, but Muriel has played in Europe for so long, especially in Italy. He's playing in big teams there. So, like in a way, it'll be funny if the MLS has, especially this coach for the Colombian national team, Nestor Lorenzo, which is a fantastic coach, by the way. I feel he looks really well at the MLS. That's why he called Cucho. He's like, how am I gonna call up a player that plays in the MLS scoring so many goals? Come over here. We need you. I don't care if I have Borré, if I have James. I'm gonna still bring you over because you just became a champion in your league. You know what I mean? Like, and so imagine if Muriel starts doing great. I think that's what he's aiming for. he feels like he's gonna definitely make a huge impact. There you go.
Hey, hopefully. So, our next topic is has been the most controversial topic in Twitter last week. Can you show us, Luis, whenever you can, that famous tweet from last week, to talk about our most talked player of this off season, Duncan Maguire. We saw last week after the appealing from I forgot the club.
Blackburn Rovers.
Exactly, from the Rovers, that they couldn't appeal. The appeal was denied. Obviously, I knew that this was gonna happen, but who am I for the league, right? So his agent went ahead to Twitter and started tweeting not so great stuff about asking around any other MLS team wanted a starting striker for their team. I'm just gonna ask you guys, what is your opinion of this silly clown tweet before I say my opinion? John, go ahead. I know that you're laughing because you're like saving your comments right now. But what do you think about this tweet, John?
I think the guy is an idiot. And I think that's ridiculous and unprofessional. And I think you should never do that. And you should understand that client privilege is something that's extremely important in the world of being a soccer agent. So if you just blast out your client's needs on social media, that's not how it's done. That's not professional. I think also it's like a slap in the face to us Orlando fans who have been really, honestly, really good to Duncan and been quite accepting of the fact that he's wanted to go and supportive of him. And even when everything's happening with Blackburn, we've just also been like, it's fine, come back. Well, it's not a problem. And so for his agent, I think there's another thing he puts there where he says, anywhere but Orlando is one of the comments he made. He like quote tweeted a fan and put anywhere but Orlando. I just think that's insulting, honestly. I think it's not going to kill you to have your client here for another 6 months playing for our team. I think the guy just wanted a payday. He didn't get his payday. And then he decided to, as in England, we say he threw his toys out the pram, which means that he he threw a fit, basically. He's just like a little child, like a toddler, just going off. And it's really unprofessional. And I hope that Duncan fired him, honestly. I think, and if Duncan didn't, I would start to question Duncan's judgment. And I think a lot of what we've seen with Blackburn and why we were all like, just stop, give up, move on, I think is driven by this guy who kept pushing a deal that a good agent, in my opinion, would have just said, hey, let's stop dealing with Blackburn because they're not worth it for us. They're not worth it for you, right? But I think sometimes you get these agents that are, obviously they want to get paid. It's their job too, but sometimes they push more on what they want than what is good for the client. I think if he was honest with Duncan, he would have said, hey, let's forget about this. Get your head down. Go back to Orlando. In 6 months, we'll get you a better deal. That's what a good agent does. What this guy did is what a very bad clown show, correct use there by everybody, of an agent does. And that's everything I have to say on that. And I could stay here and rant all day, but I'm done.
What about you, Luis?
I'm professional. There's many ways. Look, you could be money driven in life, and that's okay to be money driven in life. It's your call up. You make that decision. You're an individual. You make those choices. But there are ways of handling things, not to make your whoever you're representing look like look bad upon not only fans but also with the club, right? A bad rep. You gotta keep it all under wraps, control the situation, and just because you want to chase that paper, quoting Dr. Dre. Just because you want to chase that paper doesn't mean you're going to do it, like playing, dice on the streets. You got to do it with class. You got to do it with integrity. You got to do it ethically right. And I think the way he did it was, like John said, unprofessional. And I think it just depends on Duncan if he wants to fire him. I mean, look, he retweeted this picture, right, of some Philly Union fan, right? Respected club. But I feel there's something a little behind what's happening with Chris Megaludis. I think that's his last name. I think he doesn't like the front office of Orlando City. I think, why do I say that? Is because if you look at his tweets, there is a tweet from the City Beautiful Game, which is an account, and then he wrote Duncan walking in and finding Luis Muriel sitting in his locker room, awkward. And then he tweeted, "Luis, is this you?" Like Luis Musi. So there's something there that tells me that this guy probably didn't like talking to Luis and maybe Ricardo, and maybe he felt like they were, not treating the person that the player that he represents the right way. And also maybe he feels like, meanwhile the club is looking for the best interest of the player in good faith and the club. Whatever happens to his agent, the club they don't care about what happens to anyone's agent. I mean, that goes to every single club in the world.
And nor should they.
Nor should exactly. Nor should they. Now, there are, and this is where shady deals happen. There are times in which bad clubs have a backhanded. They talk to the agent and says, "Okay, look, we're gonna make it look like I'm giving you 5, right? But I'm actually giving you 3, okay? Right? And I keep 2." That happens down south in South America. That happens down south. I don't know. Again, maybe he feels that he should have get a bigger payday, and maybe the club Orlando is holding their ground as a club, and do good for Duncan and do good for Orlando City, and he doesn't like that, and I feel there's some animosity between them. And, it's not good to put Duncan in that position either, because he has to go back into that locker room now, and he has to go and look in Luis's eyes and look at Ricardo. It's just very bad PR. It's like, and look, I'm looking at his website right here. This is going to be a plug. Hopefully we get paid.
Yeah. We don't want to promote this guy.
Yeah, look, he represents, Becky G's boyfriend and Paul Ariola,
Yedlin.
and Nahar, these are good players. Luchi Gonzalez too, played in Peru, but a lot of people from the MLS, DeAndre Yedlin and all that stuff. So, I don't know. I feel like he's done, and this is not the first time apparently this happens with this guy. This guy has had some issues in the past with other players too. And again, that's not us for us to discuss, but I just think it's unprofessional completely.
I mean,
completely unprofessional. Hopefully he
regardless
gets fired.
Absolutely. And then regardless if the deal went through or not, or any beef between him or Luis or Ricardo, we don't know. We don't know what's happening in the back. You never burn bridges. Like, it's ethic, basic 101 ethic. You don't burn bridges no matter what happens between, because you never know when you need them back. And look, karma. Duncan needs to come back. And like you said, Luis, how Duncan is gonna go into the locker room and look into Luis or Ricardo. So never burn bridges, guys. Like this is a lesson learned
Yeah.
in any
So
way. Oh, go ahead, Luis. Sorry.
yeah, let's put this tweet from Tom Bogart, everyone's favorite Tom
So
Bogart, writer from
this,
the Athletic.
I said
Go
this to
ahead,
you
John.
is because he was trying to obviously drum up. I think he was doing the tweets partly to actually get like, it's cheeky,
Attention.
but also he's
Yeah.
actually advertising Duncan, right?
Mhm.
So other MLS clubs, we see Tom Bogart then the next day tweet out several MLS clubs have been contacted by Orlando City, the possibility of trading U.S. men's national team forward Duncan Maguire, but those inquiries were swiftly shot down. Orlando's stance is clear. They insist they have no interest in a trade. So this is basically Luis then had to spend the whole day answering phone calls from MLS teams being like, no, we're not doing that. We're not trading. We're not going to loan him in the league. We're not going to do that. He's just our player now. Like, so Chris's little plan obviously didn't work. And he just served, I think, anger Luis more because Luis probably wouldn't offer him out or like he didn't want to. So Chris tried to do it the backhanded way.
Yeah.
That's how I see this. And then obviously it didn't work and et cetera, et cetera.
And then I hope he's not telling Duncan, you see, Duncan, I tried, dude. I tried to chase that paper for you. They're underpaying you, man. I'm telling you. They're underpaying you, man. Well, we gotta get fed, man. We gotta get fed, dog. We gotta get fed. They're underpaying you. You see, they're pushing. They're shutting it down, man. I want the best for you, my boy. If he's playing that, that fake gangster type stuff, that's horrible. You
I
gotta
want
be
to ask
upfront.
you two guys before we go to the comments on this. Do you think when Duncan, everything fell through from Blackburn, right? And then he's thinking in his head, do you think he really thinks I can't go back to Orlando for 6 months? Like, you think he's mentally checked out of that? And that's him driving a lot of this? Or do you think it's more like he still wants to pursue other options, but is quite actually happy just to be back in Orlando?
I mean,
And this is all probably only for 6 months, right? Let's be
Yeah.
honest. It's not the end of time that he has to stay with us for.
I don't. Based on the history of the agent, it seems like the agent is pushing him to go to Europe. And we talked about this before. Now,
But I'm saying
if I was,
like if you're Duncan, do you think?
yeah, if I was Duncan, that was my set. Like, if I was him and I need to come back, regardless, I saw that the club tried, in my eyes, right? I will go and I will rip every single game that I will be called out in the formation. Like I will go in, put my 120% on each game if I was Duncan Maguire. Because probably from here to the summer, I will get a better deal than the Rovers. A better team will look at me with more experience in the MLS because he has only 1 year in the MLS and he still want to go to Europe, fine. But if he has more 6 months, prove them wrong, be the Duncan that we saw last year, even better, rip them apart, and I will have better options in the summer. That will be me putting Duncan's Maguire's hat.
Look, and another thing I think, and I'll be honest with you, I believe Duncan should make a. I mean, he's the only one with the power of putting out this fire. Because this is not a way. This is not a way to start the season with Orlando City, right? This is not my first rodeo. I've been covering, really bad stuff happens down in South America with transfers and stuff. So, look, it it could have been worse, right? But I feel that he should be like, okay, guys, we're in the middle of preseason. I have 6 months here and see my options. I want to do the best I can for the Orlando City fan base. I love Orlando City. Thank you for supporting me. and Vamos Orlando. If he does that and puts that out, I guarantee you, you know, no one's gonna say anything. Now, the problem is that his agent has gone and talked back to the fans. That's a huge red flag. You just don't engage. They may be pissing you off, be honest with you. They may not know what you think. They may not be at your level of expertise because some people are like that, right? Which is horrible to think about that way. But either way, you don't engage. Like you're bigger, you're the agent of an athlete. Like you don't. This guy is actually engaging and retweeting people and commenting on people's stuff, and so I feel like if he's gonna stay and he's gonna represent Duncan, still after all of this, Duncan needs to put out the fire out, because eventually, look, if I'm the, like they say it in Europe, the gaffer. If I'm the gaffer, I bench him right now. If I see Muriel scoring 2 goals and coming up, I'll, I'll bench him.
I agree. I don't think we should start him in the Champions League
You know,
game.
I mean, or you play nice. You do nice by Orlando, that has actually supported your decision of going to Europe. And I know the reason why, John, they're pushing him to do that is because time's ticking, man. He's 23. Their kids 21, 22 already in Europe thriving. So
I
I
think
think that's one
we
of the
get
reasons.
all of that, but now, like you said, we just need to clean the slate. So if that's the case of, like, even if it doesn't need to be an official thing, just like even after training, somebody get Duncan on a camera and just get him to talk about the fact that he's happy to be back in Orlando and he's put it behind him. Let's just move forward, honestly. But until that happens, I think Oscar is skeptical about, like, we didn't see him in the Revs game. He was just sat over there. There's no reason he could have been playing, I don't think, right?
Right.
So obviously he was left out for a reason, and I think that's because his head isn't on right. And until it is, I wouldn't put him in the starting lineup. I'd keep Enrique up there, or I'd put Luis Muriel in before I put Duncan back in right now. Paula, you want to do the comments, or Luis, you want to do the comments?
Yeah, I can do the comments. Give me 1 second. Jeffrey O. It's still Duncan's agent, so I can only assume that they talk. Regardless, Duncan will get humble when Muriel shows up. Herman says, the only statement I want from Duncan is a brace on opening day. There you go. Etromic, at least he didn't just randomly start training in Turkey and then try to silently peace out on us. El Germantis, thoughts on Dagger moving up to the midfield rather than right back?
It won't happen right now. He's a right back.
No,
Right.
he's a right
I think
back.
they might use him in the midfield when they need to. But
you have
he's going
to leave it now. Al Negron, Duncan does owe the fans a statement on his stance and commitment to OCSC and its fans.
Agreed.
And it says, we don't really know what Duncan has actually said, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, says Herman.
That's true.
Over Rosely. Yeah, I agree. We don't know. And that's the reason why he should clear up the air and say, hey, guys, I'm Vamos Orlando, right? I'm Orlando all day. My career started here, and I'm ready to rock and roll. That's the only thing he needs to say. And then no one's going to say he can keep the same agent if he wants to. He can put out this fire really easy. Gnocchi, he says, where is Duncan? Where is Duncan's contract with Rovers? Cancel for the summer offer too? I don't think they will have any money.
They also came out that Sheffield Wednesday are back in for him in the summer. Mm-hmm. So
it could change. It could change. A lot of things can change between now and the summer. We will know like in May, probably, right? May, something could be rumored.
But until then, Duncan's just got to play good ball. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what happens in the summer if you don't play good ball now.
El Germantis, any striker need a new agent? Asking for a friend. There you go. Daniel
I don't know
Barrett.
who commented that on X. It might have been you, but somebody put that, and I was like, "That's great. That's genius."
What's up, guys? It's Daniel Barrett. What's up, my friend? Good to see you. Jeffrey, you don't think Duncan was being verbal about how he feels about Orlando? look, maybe, but he needs to keep it to himself. I mean, he's a professional. It's like you complaining at your job that you hate your job all the time. I know there's people that do that, but you just don't do that. Plus, also, I don't know, and I'll give the mic to John. Maybe the agent is saying, hey, Orlando's a small market. Look, they don't sign players like Inter, Miami. Look what DeAndre is doing down there. Look what Paul Arriola in Dallas. He could be saying that too. And then maybe Duncan feels like he's probably better suited for an LAFC, a Sounders. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think about that, John?
I'm not sure Duncan actually, like I said, I think
Yeah.
Enrique and Muriel are like more that kind of false nine striker that connects with our attacking midfielders. Like that suits us more. Like, but they're like we saw, Duncan could definitely play in an Austria system. He could score goals for us.
Yeah.
There's no, I think it's more about if he's mentally chosen to leave and then not being able to leave and coming back. Like you think you've taken that next step, but you haven't. So you got to mentally reset yourself. And he doesn't need to go to another MLS club to do that. He just needs to focus on his football.
Agreed. Let's go to our next topic. And a lot of people were asking about our next topic, like, are they staying? Are they leaving? Orlando, give us some insight. So I don't remember exactly when. I think it was on Friday. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but Luis and Ricardo are staying. We had a lot of nuggets between the off season, the draft. Believe me, if they were not staying, they wouldn't been there. But they're officially staying through 2025, 2 years contract. Per Tom Bogert, Moreira turned down advances with two other MLS clubs to stay with us. Musi would had options if he become available, but good news is we don't have to think about they have to leave. They're staying with us because I know that Moreira believe on this project that he and Luis are building, because it's not only Ricardo, it's Luis too. Like, let's give a little bit of credit to Luis Musi on this one as well. So two masterminds are staying. Let's see if it works out for them this year. What do you guys think?
Go, John.
I was gonna let you go first on this wonderful
Rock,
one.
paper, scissors.
It's just good. I mean, there's nothing else to say, but it's something that we've expected to happen. There was questions earlier in the preseason, because there's always this sort of early season, like, are we going to change everything? But when it seemed like Oscar was on board and these guys were there doing the super draft and we see them on TV giving interviews, it's like, okay, so they're still with us. But technically they haven't signed, right? They were under contract with us, but they've signed new contracts. And these talks that they were having were ongoing throughout all of this period. So it's great now to see that they've finally locked down on new contracts. And it's also great to see that they're happy to stay here. Like, I put on X that they've been really building something over the past 3 or 4 years here. And for me, it makes total sense. Like, why would you want to leave something that you've been working on? And I now think is like kind of at the peak. Like, the squad that they've been building, I think now is better than it's ever been. So you're not going to walk away when you're betting high at the table, right? You're not going to walk away when you're winning a lot. So I think they want to see this out, whether that's MLS Cup, whether that's, CCC, what that is, some kind of major trophy that they can put their name on and say, I built this squad. This is part of my career now. This is part of my resume. I can go on to other places. And I do think that once that happens, the likes of Ricardo definitely will be headhunted, maybe to go to Europe, maybe to go be a GM at another MLS club, take that next step. But for right now, these guys, are doing a great job, and I'm super happy to have them here and for the future, and really appreciate the difference they've made. Before we were just a sort of maybe make it into the playoff club. Now we're like a top 3 or 4 club, and that's a lot of which to do with these guys and their recruitment.
I want to first and foremost apologize to Luis Musi for misspelling his name all the time. And he's called me out on it. And so sorry, Luis.
With a
I
Z.
it's with a Z, yes, and he made it very clear with a Z. So, but it's if I can if I could summarize it in one word, is instrumental, and they've been instrumental for the growth of this club. They brought in Facu Torres, that was being sought after for a lot of South American teams, big clubs. When he was hot and Orlando got him, he brought Pedro Galese from the from South America as well. Robin Jansen, he drafted Daryl Dike. They drafted Duncan Maguire. So these are two intricate instrumental players and what has been the foundation of winning in this club. Pre Moreira, pre Luis, it was a little dim, I will have to say. We started making strides on winning with these two guys, and not only we kept our core as a squad, but we've kept our core in the back office and the front office too. And I think that goes hand in hand, and they showed it. And I mean, they're loved by everybody in the club, by the players. The players always, they're there for them, and super personable, very down to earth guys. If you ever see them, like, they say hi to you. They have no egos. The egos check out at the door. They're super nice and great professionals, and they show it. And the team is growing because of their knowledge. And I do see what John says. Eventually, let's see. Imagine if Orlando wins the MLS Cup this year, and maybe the CCL, or one of those. Like John said, that's part of their resume, and it's they could be going and be a GM in England, for Nottingham Forest or any other club, and that wants them, and they'll do great. They'll do fantastic. So I'm just excited of that. It was bound to happen. People say, no, but you have to announce it now. You have to, what's going to happen with them. But I think
we waited so long.
The Wolves knew what they were doing.
The people forgot about them, and then they announce it like, "Hey, here
they
it
were
is,
waiting for a Friday with no news, no Duncan news." That's what it was.
That's true. That's true. But happy that these two masterpieces are part of this club through the 2025 year.
Bracalo
So
too. They brought Bracalo and now Muriel, right? So
unofficially Muriel, but yeah. There's a lot of sides of Muriel. Like,
here we go, official.
Just a reminder for everybody. There is kickoff week, so we had the Purple Pride 5K already happen last Saturday. I did it a few years ago, like 2 years ago. I did it. I couldn't do it this year, but it's super fun. The ref games is already gone last Saturday as well. Tomorrow there's a pareja perspective talk, like it's a conversation with him. It's in the Exploria, not Exploria Stadium, so sorry, Inter and Co Stadium.
That's the first one. the first misname.
Exactly. Orlando City Stadium. Then the jersey launch on Thursday, and I forgot the name where it is, but it's in Church Street. It's like a cowboy
Cheyenne Saloon.
Cheyenne Saloon. I love that place. Reverse car wash. Have you ever heard about a reverse car wash before?
Yeah, so this is like
what is
Kay was
this?
telling me about this. This is like where they like paint your car in
They
like
paint your
spirit
car. They
stuff.
throw stuff at you,
Right. It's like, like when you're in college and they're like, yeah, like let's
like a
get the
pep
paint and
rally.
like ride on your for the pep rally, ride on your car, like go Knights or
They
whatever.
throw like
I think that's what they're doing.
yeah,
So if you
colorful
want to
paint.
jazz your car up, go.
So it is on the 17th of this month. So reverse car wash. I have never heard about that. I had to Google it, but yeah, it's a thing. Apparently, it's a thing. Magnet Monday, then the CONCACAF watch party in the 21st. That's our first away game for this season. Then trivia night, whoever loves trivia night, go is on the 22nd.
Bingo.
No bingo, man. I love bingo. I get super competitive with bingo. Kickoff luncheon on the 23rd, and then the best for last, our home opener on the 24th against Rouen. Never mind, Montreal home opener. So hopefully everybody goes to that opener. Let's see some. There's new comments before we go to our last things. Let's read some
Yeah,
comments
sure.
really
Let's
quickly.
let's go, let's go and read some comments real quick here. Thank you so much. Is there by any chance do you know the latest on what's going on with Pro?
Oh,
Says
that's a
Victor
good
Rosa.
question.
Yeah, Tom Bogert reported that the PRSA and Pro agreed on the basic framework over the new CBA, which would avoid the work stoppage, and therefore the MLS season would start. Basically, they'd agreed on some terms, and that means that they won't. I don't think they've agreed on everything, but enough to get them
You started.
to
Hmm.
stop the work stoppage in time for the MLS season to begin like next week. So that's great news.
Good.
It all seems like it's being resolved, hopefully in time, but it's not 100% done yet.
They
So
should add a little thing on there says please ref better.
A disclaimer.
I don't think they have time for that. Like, we could be there all day about assessing the
please
refs.
please officiate
Just
better.
give them
Thanks.
the extra dollar and get them out there.
The terms and conditions. Just put it there.
Reverse car wash. Reverse car wash. They mark up your car with Orlando City themes using markers and decals. Says
There
Herman.
you
Thank you so
go.
much, Herman.
Thank you, Mr. Harmon.
This is Martin. This is hola. ¿Qué tal, Martin? Hola. Buena tarde. Will Werhan. It says, guys, I got a new Peruvian restaurant in my town up here in the Panhandle. What a dish do you guys recommend I try? Well, I'll tell you.
I'll take this
Lomo
one, Luis. I know come on.
lomo saltado. Yeah, so it's called right here. I'm gonna write it down for you, so
You,
you're
you don't
able
want the
to.
English guy's opinion on Peruvian food?
It's like a stir. It's like a stir fry, with beef tips, with onions, tomatoes, soy, a little bit of soy sauce. It's grilled and
I've had that. It's really good.
yeah, and then you put like some, you know, little potatoes, like fries, on the bottom, and then some white rice. It's really good. I recommend it. There you go. There you go. Sounds awesome. Yeah, yeah. Try it. It says it's still Duncan's agent, so I can only assume that they talk. Regardless, Duncan will get humble when Muriel shows up. Says Jeffrey O. Thank you so much for all your comments, guys. Appreciate it. There you go.
Oh, he put another comment there.
It says so
That's
far I've tried the fried rice with chicken and shrimp. Oh, arroz chaufa. That's good.
chaufa, yeah.
Yeah, it's good too. It's delicious. I mean, like, for example, my here some members of my family don't eat fish, so it's weird. I do, but
For a
some
Peruvian, that's got to be weird, right?
that's weird.
Right.
I like how we're doing a whole 10 minutes of cooking at the end of
Yeah,
the
right.
pod here. Yeah. Next week,
Yeah,
I'll tell you guys all about shepherd's pie.
there you go.
Mm.
There
Thank
you
you
go.
for the comments, guys. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can receive notifications that we release videos, because we don't only upload videos for our podcast. Luis do a tremendous job to add some content in the week So don't miss anything from us. Just hit that little bell right there. Don't hesitate. Um, we're aiming for 1,000 subscribers. So please
1K
subscribe.
party.
One, hey, we should put
Yeah, we should
confetti,
do that.
poppers, and everything if
Yeah,
we
we
get
should
to
do an event.
1,000
We should do an event. Invite everybody. Maybe we
in
should
a
do it at
bar or
a
something like
bar or
that. Let's
something,
do
right?
that. Let's do that. If we
Yeah,
go to 1K, let's do a big event.
yeah,
We're set 723 right now. So we're almost there. Please help
right
us,
there.
guys. It helps us a lot with the
Algorithm.
algorithm and all that stuff. So go hit that notification bell and subscribe to our channel. Follow us on social media, LPO Twitter, LPO Instagram, LPO Facebook group, TikTok. Don't forget about TikTok. And I do some content in Spanish, Tiro de Esquina, OC. That is right there, like right there is our social media. So follow us. Don't forget about Luis and John. John, do you want to share your Twitter?
Yeah, just John Rollins OCSC. Follow me over there for all my notes and everything about Orlando City.
You can find me on X at Pineda_ORL. You can also follow us on X at LP_podcast. And also we're on YouTube. Like Paulo was saying, we're trying to get to 1K subscribers. Subscribe, tell your friends, and
Tell your
I'm
friends,
just
spread the
also before
word.
we go, very excited for the jersey.
Yes. Yes.
Gonna
This
say
Thursday.
Thursday,
I'll be there.
officially.
very
I will
excited.
be there too. So thank you for listening. And vamos, Orlando.
Vamos Orlando, guys.
Vamos Orlando.